everyone. Welcome back to Keeping Up with the Chaldeans. Today we are blessed with the presence of Mr. Phil Mansour. I'm also honored to be serving on the board of the Shenandoah Country Club with this gentleman. He does a lot for the community. He's bringing you all-star wine imports today. He's going to talk about it. He's going to share his knowledge about the wine industry, his expertise. Hi, Phil. How are you, buddy?
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you. Glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's great to see you, my friend.
Thank you.
So why don't we start off by just telling us what All-Star Wine Imports is.
All-Star Wine Imports is a wine import company that we started 6 years ago, based in Cleveland, Ohio. It imports wines from Europe, South America, and soon to be from Lebanon.
Ooh.
And yes, it is a industry that we created because of the demand of distribution companies. We initially bought a distribution business in Cleveland, Ohio, that covered the state of Ohio, as well as selling to other states. But we found out that there's a demand for self-importing the wines in order to be able to control the quantity, pricing, shipping, etc. So we started it in 2018, 5 years ago, and it snowballed from there and it became a very successful company. Now we are exporting to about 17 different states, and 17 different states, yes, indeed. And we have liquor licenses in 27 different states. So hopefully in the expansion in the next 5 years will be to another 10 states, totaling 27 different states. And it's based in Cleveland, Ohio, and here in Michigan, we sell to distributors who in turn sell to retailers, and retailers will sell to the consumer. So we sell, our major distributor here in Michigan is Canna Distributors, as well as RNDC and Vintage.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
So people can find these wines in liquor stores, high-end. These are high-end wines. Am I mistaken by saying that? Or
no, we have the entire spectrum, starting from simple table wines for everyday use to the highest end wines that are extraordinary as well as hard to get. We cover the entire range. The whole mission of All-Star Wine Imports was to be able to bring the consumer the best quality wine for the best value. So quality to value ratio is very high with all our imported wine. And the reason being is anybody can go buy all these wines at a high price, but can you get the quality that you would desire at the right price without, putting a hole in your pocket? And that was our mission. And we even have a book with All-Star Wines that specifically it's called the $10 book, meaning that as a consumer, when you go to your retail store, you'll be able to buy our wines for $10 or less, and these are high quality wines that I personally would drink on a daily basis.
Wow. So what are your buyers? And when I say buyers, is that you? Are you're the buyer? So you determine what wines you're going to go after, and then the trip to Lebanon recently, was that related to the wine?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So as my position with the company, I have a partner, Alan Lucia, and Alan runs the daily affairs of the business. My expertise comes in being able to locate these wines across in Europe.
Yeah.
And we've developed a network of contacts in Europe, as well as we attend every single trade and wine show that takes place in Europe, any major one. And so I travel often in search of these wines and be able to locate them during the shows, or sometimes it's just serendipity. I come across a winery while I'm traveling on the road, and I sit down, I try the wines, taste them, and discuss pricing, etc., etc. And sometimes we find hidden gems, and sometimes you don't. But that's the whole idea: is be able to have a presence in these wine shows all the time. And in the next 10 days, I'm traveling to Paris and Rome for 2 major trade shows.
Nice. Now, is there a winery in your future?
No.
Never.
No,
Say
it's
never,
a whole,
but
no,
probably not.
no, it's
Okay.
totally a different wine business. And said that I enjoy what we do. It is to bring the consumer a good wine, but winery, no, it's not in the future.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, what are some of your recommendations for our viewers to go out and look for or ask for to get put on the shelves at their local stores?
The number one recommendation to any consumer: drink what you enjoy. Okay, don't let anybody influence your opinion in terms of you have to be drinking this wine, or peer pressure for someone else. He's buying this type of wine at an expensive price. No. As a wine expert, and I have a wine expert degree, drink what you enjoy. Okay, if it's a sweet wine, then so be it. If it's a dry wine, then so be it. Enjoy your wines, because that it complements your food, it complements your taste, whatever you're looking for. Now, as a beginner, if you're not a wine drinker, what I would recommend is start with the simplest types of wines. Usually we recommend people start with sparkling, like Prosecco, like champagne. It's easy to drink, it's bubbly, it's like drinking a soda, and with a little bit of alcohol. So that's the starting point. Then you can, expand your range with, some semi-sweet wines, and then you can go dry wines. And soon enough, you will develop your own palate, and you will know what your palate is. But that's what I recommend. Now, in terms of what type of wines you want to drink, again, the range is open. What I recommend, whenever there's a wine tasting that takes place, please, by all means, take your significant other and go visit it and try all these wines. These are normally for a very, you can attend any of these shows for a very symbolic fee, $20, $30 cover charge, and you'll get to try hundreds of wines during that show. And that's important, because now you're going to start developing palates and start making your notes, and this is what I like, this is what I don't like, and making notes, and then that's how you start buying wines. But again, do not be pressured by the price of wine. Okay, that's certainly it's a factor, but that's not the controlling factor in what you should be drinking.
What are some of your favorite wines? And then also touch a little bit on the rating. So if you go into a fine wine shop, you see a rating on the thing, and discuss like the difference in years. And I know just to kind of educate our viewers just a little bit on how to choose a wine.
Most certainly. The ratings for a wine are very important, and important in terms of, if the higher the rating, obviously, the better the wine is. And it comes at a price. There's no question about it. It comes at a price. Now, when I say the ratings are very important, is when you get to develop a palate, and now you have a certain taste for, let's take example, Bordeaux wine out of southwest France. It's a very important appellation in France, and almost everybody knows what Bordeaux is. And Bordeaux, you can get them from $5 a bottle to thousands of dollars a bottle. Now, where do you go in terms of where is your budget at a given wine? So when you go to a wine shop, okay, just look at the shelves, and you'll go to Bordeaux and you'll see the pricing. Now you go and say, okay, today my budget for buying that wine is $20. What you'll do is you take that, and then you'll see a range of $20 bottles of wine, but you'll see ratings as well with stickers on them, or it could be on the shelf talker on the shelf itself.
Yeah.
And you'll say, okay, 91, anything north of 90 is a very, very respectable wine. And usually they would advertise it only when it's north of 90. It's below 90, you may or may not advertise it. But it's a telltale sign that this is a good wine that was given good points by a wine critic that is reputable, whether it's European wine critic or American wine critic, and our wines go to all of them. And that will give you some sort of a comfort level with that particular bottle of wine and with that particular vintage. Vintage means the year that the wine was made and produced. Now, that particular bottle of wine will vary from vintage to vintage. Some certain vintages are better than others, but the winemaker is always very important also, the label of the winemaker, because the winemaker, even in bad vintages, is able to produce quality wine. So that's a telltale sign. For example, this is, it's one of my favorite red wines in the world. It's called Châteauneuf-du-Pape. It comes from southeast France in an area called Côte d'Or. This particular wine, you'll find it's very popular. The name is very popular around all the wine shops. And you can find in a range of anywhere from $35 to $1,000, okay, and everything in between. Now, this particular bottle, Chateau Farguriel, I came across it last February in a wine show in Paris. And I was not even searching for it because we had 3-4 different bottles of Châteauneuf-du-Pape and that we sell very successfully. And I was waiting for an appointment, and I saw a very small producer, a family of husband and wife, and but they've been around since the 1300s. So I had some time. I asked them if I could taste this wine, and they kindly obliged. Tasted the wine, and immediately it hit me that this is unequivocally was the best Châteauneuf-du-Pape I've ever had in my life, and I've had many of them throughout the years. And surprisingly, the price was just correct, and it will price out below market value what the comparable wines, way below market value what the comparable wines are. And we sent it to Robert Parker, who is the highest, one of the top wine critics in America. And the reason I sent it to him because I know he personally adores Châteauneuf-du-Pape. And when I sent it to them, to Robert Parker and his company, the evaluation came back as 95 plus points.
Wow.
And that means today it's rated, this is a 2020 vintage, and it's rated at 95. Few years from now, it could go higher than that, possibly 97 or 98 points, which is very, very remarkable given the price that we pay for this particular bottle. So that gives you an idea how ratings are important, especially to those who specialize in a certain type of wine.
Wow, it's an amazing story.
It was a very, very pleasant discovery.
So now, since you kind of put these guys on the map, right? What happened to the demand and the supply of this particular wine?
So, very important thing that we do, once we discover something, we make sure that we sign exclusive agreements. So we locked it up for the entire United States. So nobody will be able to sell this particular wine unless it has the logo of All Star Wine Imports on it. Nice. Nobody. So when you see this is quality wine, and I can put it up against the best Châteauneuf-du-Pape that you will be paying 50 times more than what you pay for this, and I'll put it up against, and I'll bet you this will beat them at any given day.
Nice.
So that's why we lock it up for the entire, we have exclusivity on it, all of the United States. And sometimes you're not, if it's sold in different states, then we will not have exclusivity, but we'll certainly cover the 27 states that are under our radar.
Gotcha.
So that's what we do. And in terms of supply and demand, if you're exclusive, you'll always have it. And that's why this is the very important reason that I mentioned earlier in the show, that we had to start our own importing business so we control the supply and demand that the market is required.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so that's what we do that's the purpose of importing ourselves.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Can you educate our viewers a little bit about the regions and where the wines come from, and like just a little short brief?
Most certainly.
Yeah.
So France and Italy are always the leaders of Europe in terms of wine production, wine quality, and popularity, okay? And certainly there are many regions, and let's take example for France. In the north, you have your Champagne area, which is the finest in the world. And then, to the southwest, you have Bordeaux. To the southeast, you have Côte d'Or. In the center, you have Burgundy. And all these are regions that are autonomous regions in terms of wine classification. And they all have a seal of approval of when you get the designation of that particular appellation, it's under the strict rules of quality and production, etc. And so there are many, many wine regions in all of France, but I just mentioned the important ones that, as we know, Americans. Italy, the same exact thing. The most popular, everybody knows, is Tuscany in terms of Chianti. You have a range of all of that, and we cover them all. And then you have in Veneto, it's again an important region, and Piemonte in terms of Barolo Barbaresco, again a very important region. And so we cover all of the important regions, but there's no way that you can cover the entire map of Italy or entire map of France, because some of these wines, although they may be popular in their own region, they're not popular abroad,
right?
And certainly not in France, okay, or let alone come to America. So, yeah. But also we import from Spain, Portugal, Greece, Germany, Austria.
Probably a few others.
A few others that I can't remember, but again, we import. The third import is Spain. Spain offers excellent wines. Quality to value ratio is probably one of the best in the world. And we also import from Argentina. We have Argentinian wine.
Wow. And
like I said, soon, hopefully, we're working with 2 different wineries in Lebanon to bring some Lebanese wines, which are some fantastic, fantastic wines.
Unbelievable. Do you do any California stuff, or is that?
Of course, we do buy, but we don't call it import because we're, it's California wines. Yeah. We have a good, very, very respectable selection of California wines, and we do quite a bit business with that. Mm-hmm. But again, we don't call it import because it's it's an American-made wine. But they are fantastic. Again, same thing like I said with California. We have a wide range from great value to very high-end expensive wines. But the mission, I must repeat, the mission of All Star Wines is to bring our consumers the best juice for the best price. Yeah. And that has always been our mission. And we continue to do that, and we're very successful in doing that.
Very nice. So for the retailers out there, how do they take a look at your selection, and how do they find the distributor that covers their area?
A great question. So any retail, when we sell as an import company, we sell it to the distributors. Mm-hmm. And let's take Canna Distributors, for example, that is our biggest client here in Michigan. And
so everyone in the wine industry knows who Canna is. So
they are a family-owned business, smaller business, but they cater to to the needs and demands of every retailer. They do, and then like I said, we sell to RNDC, which is a very large distributor, and they certainly have many sales reps, and they do fine job with certain types of wines that we sell to them. But when you get a family-owned, they have a sales staff no more than 10 persons, and these 10 persons go out and present our wines to the retailer. Okay. And all I ask the retailers, I understand you have good brands on the shelf, and rightfully so. And I'm not asking you to replace your shelf, but all I ask you is to keep an open mind and taste our wines, because they certainly come with high quality, great value, and the points. And I'm not asking the retailers to replace what has been selling well for them with our wines, but keep an open mind, keep it on the back burner, because one day you're gonna run out of wine from your regular wines that you have on the shelves, and you need immediate replacement. Okay, that's when we come in. That's when you come in. You're only one phone call away or one email away from ordering a replacement wine that is readily available in Cleveland and in Michigan. So that's all I ask the retailers is have an open mind. Don't shut down the salespeople. They're there to enhance that. And then certainly certain brands like certain types of wines like Chateauneuf or Bordeaux, you can never have enough number of that on the shelf, because they all sell very well and there's a demand. And certainly the pricing, if the price is correct, then you can floor stack them and you can make, sell certain wines sell at certain time of the year.
Of course.
Yeah.
So where do they go to see the selection?
There are very fine retailers here in Michigan. Certainly the independents, one of the biggest independents that we have is Wine Palace in Livonia, owned by the Dinha family. They do fantastic job with our wines. We have them in, again, Chaldean-owned businesses such as Plum Market, in all their branches, they carry our brands. Many other fine retailers, I cannot name them. There's so many of them that I cannot name, but we have had, and thank you for all the Chaldean business owners. We have had a tremendous support from you in buying and placing our wines on your shelves. And one thing is, we can promise you we'll never disappoint you, and we'll keep reinventing the brands and the wines and putting more on your shelves, and most importantly, putting adding to your bottom line and profits. Okay, and that's what we do best.
So we used to have the pleasure of tasting and sampling some of these wines at the board meetings in Shenandoah when our great president, Raad Kathawa, outlawed the consumption of alcohol at these board meetings. Can you promise me that you're going to ask Nebhan McKenney, the new president of the Shenandoah Country Club, if we can bring back some wine tasting and wine sampling at these events?
Oh, I'm sure they'll be welcomed again. It's just that we put it on pause, okay? It wasn't shut down, but we put it on pause. But I'm confident that we'll be able to bring back the wine tastings. And again, for all of you viewers out there, do not miss any wine tasting if you have an opportunity to attend. It's a fantastic way to discover wines. I personally, with all honesty, I attend wine tastings of other importers that are around me, because you never garner enough knowledge about wines in your lifetime. You need 10 lifetimes, and you will not even discover half of the wines that are out there in the world. And so just be open-minded and go and visit. It can be my wine tastings, which I have several of them around the Detroit metro area annually. Or it could be somebody else. But whenever you have a chance, if you're a wine lover, and whenever you have a chance, please, by all means, go to those. Those are fun events. There's food, there's wine, you'll see a lot of people that you know. It's a nice social event, a nice date for you and your significant others.
And where could they find the listing or the announcement of these events?
The events, whenever you go to a retail establishment, they always have, online, let's say if you're going to Plum Market or Wine Palace, or online on their websites, they always announce where they're wine tasting. If you're a member of Shenandoah Country Club, we just had a very successful event last December. We're going to have another one in the spring and another one in the fall. These, just check.
You guys,
All Star Wines, okay, yes, yeah. All Star Wines. We had a fantastic event. It was not just wines. We also had, we introduced in that event the best balsamic vinegar in the world, unequivocally. This is the oldest oldest maker of balsamic vinegar in Modena, Emilia-Romagna in Italy. And we have the honor and the pleasure of owning this brand for several states. This particular brand was presented put in a limelight by Stanley Tucci in his show on CNN, Searching for Italy. And they had a very nice episode about the vinegar. So we sell other complementary products, food products that go along with wine. Nothing perishable, but no cheeses or anything like that, but olives, cordials, balsamicos, that type of thing. So these are the things that you'll encounter when you're going to a wine tasting. There'll be food, special items like balsamico, all of that. This was a big hit in the Shenandoah wine tasting in December. Oh my God, it was the most visited table. And
so what do you pair this with how do you sample this?
Here's what I do. Well, when you sample it, we have little spoons that you'll sample with a spoon, or you will have a little crostini or a piece of bread or cheese. I personally, and then they have, again, just like wine, there are different grades of this balsamico. There are simple salad dressing of this, and to the finest one that we have is a 100-year-old balsamico that we only get a very small allocation of. And it's called the black gold, because that's how expensive this stuff can become, and that's how tasteful. But what I do is I sprinkle it over like sharp cheeses, like 8 cheeses, like Parmigiano Reggiano, and that complements, as an aperitif, as a appetizer to go with your wine before the meal. And I even at home I use it. The balsamico, I use it on top of like as a late night snack with yogurt. I sprinkle it over yogurt or over vanilla ice cream. It's got sweetness on the back palate. So multiple uses for this.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is there anything we didn't cover that you want to mention?
All I say is, again, keep on drinking wine. In my opinion, it's the best drink in the world. It's been around for 6,000 years. I want to mention something, and I'm doing a research on this right now. For those of you who don't know this, but I edit a weekly newsletter that comes out every Monday, and to all we have many subscribers to it, in the thousands.
How do they subscribe?
Just email us to our website with your email address, and we'll place you on the email list, and you'll get every Monday morning. You will be getting a newsletter that talks about wine. It certainly talks about wine, and it shows also some in the middle of the newsletter is weekly promotions that we have,
nice.
little wine and websites that you can visit. And then at the bottom, I have my corner that is a personal corner of mine. I can talk about wine, travel, food, restaurants, anything, heritage, history, geography. I cover a lot of things. So one of the items that I want to mention, right now I'm in the middle of doing a research on who is the oldest wine making people in the world, okay? And there's many different arguments about that one. Certainly the Georgians from Georgia, the country in Europe, they say we're the oldest ones. The Hebrews say we're the oldest ones. But I am right now in the middle of a research that I'm hopeful to prove that our ancestors, the Chaldeans and Assyrians, were one of the oldest winemakers in the world. Really? And indeed, they are oldest winemakers and oldest beer makers in the world. And just to give you a glimpse of where my research has led me is that they used to mix wine with beer and ale for a drink. So certainly not what we do today, but but it gives you an idea who we are and why we should be drinking wine, because it goes back to our ancestors, the Chaldeans and the Assyrians. And hopefully within a few months, I'll be able to complete my research, and I'll certainly will publish it in my newsletters or other avenues.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We're going to post the link to the newsletter, or where you can submit your email address, in the description below. So click the description, look down there, and you'll find out where to subscribe to this newsletter that you get every Monday. So we close out every show, and this was an absolute pleasure and very educating episode, and I appreciate you very much for everything that you do for the community, everything that you do for Shenandoah, everything that you've ever done for my mom and my dad. They love you dearly.
Thank you. God bless her soul.
Thank you. We close out every show by asking, what does it mean to you to be Chaldean?
It's in your bloodline. This is our heritage. And it means a lot more to me because I was born there. I witnessed the cradle of civilization of the Chaldeans and the Assyrians, and I visited many of these historic sites, and most certainly I visited our village Tel Kepe no less than 20 times when I lived in Iraq. We are very proud of our heritage, and most certainly we have extended that heritage in the new country. God bless America. And the most important thing is we need to extend this pride and of our heritage to our children. Happy to tell you that we have taught all our children Chaldean, and some of them speak Arabic. So we propagated the heritage by preserving our culture in terms of language, in terms of our cuisine, in terms of our values, most important, and in terms of, you thank me for doing what I do for the community of the Chaldean community and the Catholic community at large.
Yes.
But all I ask you is keep on working hard to preserving our values and our heritage. And that's, when we take those back to the grave, we know that we have left a legacy behind us that is a very proud Chaldean American heritage. And that's my pride in being Chaldean.
That's beautiful, man. You almost brought me to tears.
Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Thank you all for watching. This is going to be an episode you want to share with your family, your friends, the entire community. Thanks again. We're signing off. Thank you, Phil.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All the best.